Hello. Today we're going to talk about a very easy concept. The concept that we're going to talk about today is object pronouns. And as I said, object pronoun is a very easy concept. We'll start with a sentence. Let's say the sentence, Peter loves Mary. And you can see here, and this is something that happens with every sentence in the English language, that this sentence is divided into three parts. The first part over here is what we call the subject. And in this case, the subject is Peter. The second part over here, and the second part is loves. Of course, loves with S because we're talking about Peter. All right. The second part is what we call the verb. And the third part is over here Mary and is what we call the object. Now, let's say that I'm writing a paragraph, and in this paragraph, I mention the name Peter. And I mention the name Peter many times. I say Peter, 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 Peter. But I don't want to repeat the name Peter again. Well, what I have to do is I have to substitute Peter with what we call subject pronouns. And I assume that everybody watching this video is familiar with subject pronouns, but either way, I'm going to give you a list right over here. All right. And so let's say that I want to substitute Peter. Well, I would use the appropriate subject pronoun. So for Peter, I would not say I wouldn't say you, I would say he. So I would say he loves Mary. All right. Now, let's say that it's not Peter that I mentioned a lot, but it's Mary. In my paragraph, I said Mary, 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 and I don't want to say Mary again. So for that, what I'm going to have to use is what we call object pronouns. And I'll give you a list of that one as well. Okay? And so the way that the list works, and let me move this a little. Okay? So the way that this list works is that whatever I use in the subject pronoun list, but for the subject, I'm going to use in the object pronoun list, but for the object. So for example, if I have Mary and I wanted to substitute Mary in the subject, I would not say I would not say you, I would not say he, I would say she. She, for the subject, is her for the object. All right? So when it is my turn to substitute Mary for the object, I say her. So the new sentence would be, for Peter, I would say he. All right. Then the verb would stay the same, loves. And then for Mary, I would say her. So I would say he loves her. All right. Let's try some different examples. Okay. So we're going to write the sentence, my mother does, or my mother washes the dishes. And I'm going to give you here the list for the subject and the object pronoun. All right, so if I want to substitute the subject of this sentence, which in this case is my mother, the subject would be she. All right, so for my mother, I would say she. Then the verb would stay the same, washes. And then when I'm talking about the dishes, well, the dishes in the object pronoun would be them, because the dishes is an object, but if you see, the dishes is in plural. So I cannot say it, I have to say them. So I would say my mother or she washes them. All right? Let's try another sentence. Let's say the sentence, my family's dog chases my nephew to the house. Okay? And so I have here the subject, which is in this case my family's dog. Then I have the verb chases. And for some of you may not know what chases means. I'm going to give you a picture of what it is. Okay, so this would be chases, this. All right? So The subject is my family's dog. The verb is chases. Then I have here the object, and the object is my nephew to the house. This entire phrase is the object. Now, if you notice, the phrase has two parts. One part is my nephew, and the other part is to the house. Now, my nephew is what we call the direct object, and to the house is what we call the indirect object. And now, it's okay if you don't understand what is direct object and what is indirect object, because I will explain that in a different video. But right now, it is okay for you to understand that this entire phrase is the object. All right? And I'm going to change every section, the direct object and the indirect object, individually. So, if I'm talking about my family's dog, I would not say I or you or he, I would say it. So my family's dog is it. Then the verb would stay the same, chases. And then I have to change my nephew and I have to change to the house. My nephew in the list would be him. Yeah? That would not be you. It would not be it would not be me or you. It would be him. So it chases him. And then to the house. The house would be it again. And so I would say my family's dog chases my nephew to the house, or I could say it chases him to, the preposition stays the same, to it. All right? And that is the concept of object pronouns.